welcome back to another episode of Car Man Conversations, and today I have a very, very special guest, and a superstar in my eyes, Skye Nicholson. I'm back from her Olympic journey. Welcome, Skye.
Thanks, Luke.
What I usually do with my salespeople first up each morning is just get a bit of a run around of what we had for dinner and beverage, so maybe we can start with that today.
Okay.
What was for dinner and beverage last night?
Actually went to one of my favourite Italian restaurants last night, the Italian Plate, and I had spaghetti amatriciana and a glass of Sav, actually. A little change up for me.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. So, obviously it's a privilege to have you on today. Me personally, I'm a massive fan. I'm on the Skye Nicholson train, have been from day one. And I guess to me, initially, the way we first met is I used to follow you on Instagram. With Joel Camilleri, Kamikayo, I started to get more into Australian boxing and meet some people, and I soon realised who was the inspirational ones and not. And I often will look for people for motivation and drive and interest in a journey, and you intrigued me immediately. I think I reached out to you in the early part, and we teed up a meeting. Me, being the car man, had an intention to try and sell a car, but at the same time I saw an opportunity, and we had a meeting really about your drive and what you're looking for in your career. And it was at that point then that I was hooked, and I was super intrigued into your story and where you were heading and what you were doing and where you came from, which I still am. And I guess it went from there, and from that point you naturally know, I believe like attracts like, and I could see that I could gain a lot from you and your journey for me to push for business, and also an opportunity to get into your network, which again was attracting some really good people, because obviously where your mindset is and your professional edge is far superior to others. So I guess for me, to look at it today, I couldn't be more proud to have you as an ambassador for Grand Prix Mazda at Aspley. On the second part of that, congratulations on your efforts at the Olympics. To do that was absolutely amazing, and I rode that journey with you. I'll get to some of the questions a bit later on about the ins and outs of it, but for me it's like I said, it's a privilege. Thank you. I appreciate every opportunity I get, and this is a big one. And for you to be on this journey, I guess, and what you've achieved so far, and to take things way beyond where anyone else has been, it's great. And when we sat back in the office going back some period of time, when you said, I've tunnel vision, this is what I'm going to do, this is where I'm going to be, well, you didn't let me down, you're there. So I guess if you could talk about your journey, where you started, what your drivers were, what your inspiration was, what you were trying to achieve, and that focus of your tunnel vision to get to the Olympics, and I guess, and talk about what it was to be, or how it felt when it came to an end, and then we'll get into, I guess, the next journey from there and how we reset. So if you could give us a bit of rundown of the Skye Nicholson journey today.
Yeah, sure. I started boxing 14 years ago. I was 12 years old. I tried a lot of sports and hadn't really found my niche. I hadn't found, I guess, that passion, that drive. So when I started boxing, I had a little bit of natural talent. Being the competitive girl that I am, that was my first kind of drive and motivation. Was I found something I was kind of good at, and I wanted to be the best. So yeah, that was kind of where it all started. I wasn't overly serious about it at first. It was kind of more of a social thing. Yep. Lots of cute boys around, and not many girls to compete with, so that was nice. But yeah, I slowly fell in love with the sport. Women's boxing wasn't in the Olympics at the time, so the Olympic dream wasn't so much there, mainly because it wasn't existent. Yeah. So when women's boxing got introduced into the Olympics in London in 2012, that was kind of my first light bulb moment where I was like, that could be me one day. And I really started to feel that Olympic dream grow inside of me. I was 16 years old watching the Olympics and watching the girls box, and I just thought, wow, this is what I want to do. That's going to be me one day. And that was the driving force that kind of started the whole I'm going to be a boxer.
Yep.
So, yeah, 14 years later, lots of highs and lows. I really had my sights set on the Rio Olympics 2016. I was 19 years old going into the qualifiers. I trained harder than I'd ever trained before for those qualifying fights. And I was up against the, at the time, current Commonwealth Games gold medalist. She was a pretty big name in Australian boxing at the time. And unfortunately, I was up against the name, not just the girl. And went down in a pretty controversial split decision to not go on for the Rio Olympics. So that was probably my first real heartbreak in the sport. I'd had losses and setbacks before, but this one really hurt me more than most. Being the Olympic Games, obviously, there was a lot more on the line, but also how hard I'd worked, and I really truly believed in myself, and I felt like I'd done everything. I'd left no stone unturned going into that qualifying fight. I felt very confident, and for it to not go my way was really, really hard for me. It made me question my love for the sport. It made me question if I wanted to do it anymore, and I actually had to take a bit of time away from the sport and give myself that time to figure out what I wanted to do.
Yeah, right. Yep.
Went on a cruise, got fat, and very quickly realised that I missed boxing. I wanted to get back in the gym, and I wanted to reset those goals and give myself something new to focus on. And the Olympics obviously wasn't an option for another 4 years. And luckily, the World Championships were happening the same year. So around the same time that the Rio Olympics were going ahead, the World Championships were on. So I made that my new goal. Got back on the horse, so they say.
Yeah.
Back in the gym, pushed myself even harder than before, and went on to the World Championships and ended up winning Australia's first ever Women's World Championship medal.
Amazing.
So that was a really, really positive turnaround in my boxing, from such heartbreak and I guess almost feelings of robbery and hate a little bit for the sport. It was nice to find that passion and that love again through that result, and it opened big doors for me. It opened opportunities for me to start travelling a lot more with the national team and getting that international experience that I wasn't getting before. So it was a massive turnaround for me. I guess it showed me that if I can be resilient and come back from setbacks, that there's bigger and better things waiting for me.
Absolutely.
So I think boxing really taught me resilience in that setback. I even got the word tattooed on my back not long later because of the impact that resilience has had on me and what boxing has given me. Fast forward another couple of years, the Commonwealth Games, Gold Coast Commonwealth Games, so home games, and obviously my first ever Commonwealth Games. So I was really, really excited. There was a lot of pressure on me. It was the Gold Coast girl to win gold before I'd even qualified for the national team. I wasn't even going to the Commonwealth Games yet, and there was big media around me winning gold. So it was a very, very high pressure 18 months there between qualifying for the Games and being at the Games and winning gold. So that was such an incredible experience, and I really thrived off the pressure, and I let that pressure push me and motivate me every day. That expectation became my driving force and kept me very accountable. I left absolutely no stone unturned, as I do. I had that tunnel vision all the way to that gold medal, and it was such an incredible experience. Like, it's so hard to explain in words. That feeling and that
picking it up by the look in your face. So.
Oh, that roar of the crowd, that home crowd. I think it was about 7,000 maybe, the crowd in the boxing venue for the Commonwealth Games, and just hearing everyone cheering your name, like, you can't explain the feeling. You have to just be there and be in that moment. But winning that gold medal was a definite career high for me. And then it was, honestly, the day the Commonwealth Games finished, my wallpaper in my phone changed to an Olympic gold medal for Tokyo 2020.
Yeah, right.
So straight away, my new goal was set, and that tunnel vision stayed all the way through, even that extra year through COVID. I had one thing on my mind every single day, and that was the Olympic gold medal. Qualifying for Tokyo last year was a massive process in itself. It's about 10 fights that I had to win to actually secure my place in the games. I had some great career best performances to make sure that I had my name on that Olympic team.
Very good. Yep.
And secure my spot. There's only 20 people out of the whole world that can go to the Olympics, so just to be in that 20 was big for me.
That's huge.
But I always knew that the end goal was that Olympic gold medal, and this was just another stepping stone. Qualifying was just another stepping stone to get me close to my goal. Came back from the Olympic qualifiers in Jordan, so excited, on top of the world, on cloud 9. I'm going to the Olympic Games, and the whole response from anyone and everyone was, oh, you actually think the games are going ahead? Like, you're kidding yourself. You're in denial if you think there's going to be an Olympic Games.
Yeah.
Haven't you heard? We're actually in a pandemic and the world's gone into lockdown.
Yep.
I literally missed having to do a hotel quarantine by like 2 days. That was how close it was to the world kind of shutting down with COVID-19. So that was a bit of a scary time for me, because I'd finally made the Olympics after heartache and setbacks and years of sacrifice and hard work, and it had finally paid off for what was looking like the Olympics being cancelled. There was even time where it was talk about the Olympics were going ahead and Australia just wasn't going to send a team. So that for me was a very, very scary process. I was finding out how I was getting to Tokyo with or without the Olympic team. So for the Olympic Games to be announced postponed instead of cancelled was definitely a big relief for me. I took that extra 12 months in my stride, tried to be very positive about it and focus on what I could do with that 12 months to make sure that I was going to be even better when I got in the ring in Tokyo.
Yep.
And I feel like I really did that. My end goal, my focus was there every day. That didn't change. It was just a year away instead of a couple of months.
Yep.
And we focused on what we could focus on, and that was strengthening my weaknesses and making me a harder fighter to beat. The Olympics came around real quick. That year flew. I had an amazing preparation, especially the last 24 weeks leading into the Olympics, starting down in Wollongong, doing a 5-week pre-camp there with Nudge, an awesome coach, so it was great to work with him. And then, coming up to the Gold Coast, we did 16 weeks on the Gold Coast with the national team. Really, really solid foundational general phase training. Yep. Before we headed overseas and worked with Team USA, Ireland, Germany, Netherlands, really, really good, strong teams to finalise the preparation. And I went into Tokyo feeling so ready, so confident in my preparation, and everything just fell into place. I just felt like I was exactly where I was meant to be, and everything I've done for the past 14 years has built up to this moment. And
the time felt right.
It was go time.
Yep.
I am normally a very, very nervous fighter. I get crazy nerves, like sweating like you will not believe. I cannot stop sweating all day. Fight day, I'm just freaking out about anything and everything. Completely different experience in Tokyo. That first fight, I thought I was going to be the nervous I'd ever been in my life, and I was just so cool and calm and collected. So chill, like I wasn't overthinking things. I wasn't stressing about what if I don't perform. I wasn't stressing about what if I don't win. It was just this really calm confidence, and I loved it. Yep. It felt so good. I felt so comfortable. I had to keep like trying to work myself up a few times. Honestly, I was like, the self-talk that was going on was just like, Skye, You're at the Olympics.
Yeah.
Why aren't you nervous? What's wrong with you? Like, come on, let's go.
Yeah.
Let's get nervous. This isn't normal. But no, I feel like after having 18 months out of the ring, like I would have been really, really nervous. But the nerves didn't come, and I embraced that as well. I embraced how calm and how good I was feeling. And I feel like it showed in my boxing. I feel like it showed in my performances that I was relaxed. I was where I was meant to be. I was living my destiny. That's honestly how it felt. And obviously, despite the result in that quarterfinal bout, I was exactly where I was meant to be. And I'm a big believer in what's meant to be will be. And I feel this result is another setback, but also another big learning lesson for me, and more drive and more fuel for what's to come.
Yeah. It's been an amazing story so far, and I feel like I've been on the journey somewhat from back here. But I'll just talk about the fight quickly. I suppose the decision didn't go your way. Speculation, we'd call it that. But I guess from me not being an expert and watching it, and me being in your corner and massively biased to Team Skye Nicholson, I thought the fight was amazing. I thought that first round, was a close round. I thought that second round you came out and just dominated. You looked really, really good. There was a lot of body shots and rips that were just hitting the mark, and I thought you were on the front foot. You obviously went at the end of that second round ahead on points. So at the end of that second round, what was the conversation in your corner from your coach and the advice to go into that third and final?
So we felt quite good going into that third round. I was slightly up on the scorecards just. So 2 judges had me winning the fight. 1 judge had her winning the fight, and 2 had it dead even going into that third round. So I really just needed one of those 2 judges that had it dead even to give me that round, and I'd win the fight on a 3-2 split, no matter what.
Yeah.
So I really needed the bare minimum. So basically, my coach said to me, go out and keep doing what you're doing. It's working. Round 2 was amazing. Go do the same thing again, and don't let her take this from you. And honestly, we felt we had done that. At the end of the fight, when that final bell rang, I went back to the corner and they said, you've done it. I felt I'd done it. I knew it was going to be close. It's the thing with sports like boxing where there's that it's subjective.
Yes.
And unfortunately, the 2 judges that gave me the last round weren't the 2 I needed. And that's what it came down to, unfortunately. And that's boxing, as they say.
Yeah, it is. So at the time, I was watching live from Tangalooma on my laptop, and I was 100% behind, and Jess and I were watching and being your biggest support. And at the end of that second round, Jess was asking a few questions around, what does that mean with the points, and is Skye looking good? And I said, look, that second round was amazing, but this one she just needs to keep fighting the same fight. And to your credit, you came out in that third round, and you looked so calm. And this is the question why I asked about, what was the advice in the corner, because you came out not frazzled one little bit. You were direct. You kept the same shots going. The opponent came out, from my eyes, looked erratic and, started throwing, as many punches as she could for no connection. And there was so it got to a bit of a grapple, and I thought that from that your counter punches were good. You were solid, and you looked in complete control. I believe. So you come to the end of the round, the bell's gone. In your head then, what were you thinking? What's the feeling like with the weight of what's the final decision? And what sort of things were going through your head at the time?
So obviously being the quarterfinal, the win or loss for this fight is probably the biggest one, because it's the difference between a medal and no medal. So there's a lot on the line. So that's kind of what you're thinking about in that moment is, am I getting on the podium or am I not? I did feel it was a very close fight, and my thought process was, please God, please just let it be me. because in boxing you just never know.
Yeah.
Especially when a fight is so close. It comes down to who those 5 judges are around the ring, what style they prefer to watch, and what they're more inclined to favour.
Yep.
Unfortunately, you do see Great Britain getting the nod on a lot of those really close ones.
Right, yeah.
As well. But yeah, that's what's going through your head. Am I getting on the podium or not? And just hoping and praying that it's you that gets your arm raised. And
so fast forward a few seconds later, you don't get the decision. It doesn't go your way. And there were some emotional scenes that I think hit everyone, family, friends, your supporters. And, it hit me home. I felt it. I looked at Jess and I saw tears rolling down her eyes, and not from disappointment, but for the feel for you of wish we could be there to support and just say congratulations. You've done way more than, that we could ever believe in. And you represented the country so well and you held yourself so well. From that, I guess the questions went through my head. It's like, where to from here? Like, what do you do? Like, how do you recover? Like, what's the thought up next? So talk us through that probably 20 minutes after that fight, and you had your press conference after that, which I assume came pretty quick.
Yeah.
Just talk us through a few of those moments and what happened and what was going on in your mind.
Mm-hmm. So the walk from the ring to the warm-up area where you start is... You see the doctor. So I had my doctor check, it was fine, walk through, and you have to walk through all the media. So there's media from all different countries there. So some will talk to you, some won't. Obviously, the British media stopped me first. I had a really quick chat with them and kept walking. I actually begged not to do an interview with the Australian media.
Right, yeah.
I just didn't feel like I could string any sentences together for starters. I was very, very upset, and I begged. I said, please, just let me go, please. I just want to keep walking. And they said, please, Skye, we'll be really quick. And I felt, they've been there, the media's been there doing all my story and my interviews for me through this whole preparation, and been massive support for me. So I felt I should, and I owed them that, and I did that. And it was very, very hard, as you probably saw.
Yeah.
But I got it done and went out the back. Me and the national coach had a good cry. It was actually quite moving to see him, quite emotional. He's a pretty laid-back kind of coach.
Right, yep.
And to see it affect him as much as it was affecting me was quite special. He obviously saw the daily grind.
Yeah.
And saw how much it meant to me. He knew how much it meant to me, and it obviously meant a lot to him too. So, we sat with our hands in our lap, in our face.
Yeah.
Didn't say much for a bit. And about 5 minutes later, I said, I'm going to get her in Birmingham.
Wow.
And it was just like this flick of the switch. It was like, I'm the best and I'm going to prove it. And it was like, I'm ready to go. Let's go.
Good on you.
I want to get back in the gym. I want to be even better next time. I'm not leaving it to be that close ever again. That was...
Yeah.
And straight away, it was Commonwealth Games are less than a year away. So let's go.
Amazing. And to watch that, and I thought you handled that press conference amazing. And I think that anyone watching that, if they didn't shed a tear or get a bit jumpy in the voice, there was something wrong with them, because that was emotional. And we went through that journey with you, and a credit to you the way you handled yourself through that period.
Thank you.
I guess to that, for you to be in that position post that, to already be ready and reset, it shows where your mindset is.
Yeah.
And you're not going to let this dream go away. I look at that, and it's a motivational thing for us as with the dealership here, of over 100 staff, and especially being sales orientated, a lot of it is about where's your next goal and what are you setting, and the big thought for me to these guys is the positive energy about nothing's going to go your way all the time.
Yeah.
And in a perfect world it does, but you've got to face these, and it's how you challenge and how you react and how you respond to it. And you see some salespeople where things don't go their way, and it can affect them for days, you know, and there's other people that will handle it really well, and you look at their growth and development, their mindset. In my mind, when watching this, I did say to my partner Jess at the time, I said, gee, I wonder where it is for Skye. I watched you go through, through your socials around your training in Wollongong, when you're in the States, and what you put in, and we don't see it from the outside. We don't see every day. We don't see the injuries. We don't see what you're waking up to, and how you're feeling, and about what the commitment is. Yeah. So for you to make that decision and be there, credit to you for one, but absolutely amazing. How do you manage to keep that mindset to be so driven and motivated all the time?
Well, like I said about resilience, if boxing has taught me one thing, it's that. And I've definitely learned from experience that I'm very goal-driven. So for me, the quicker I have a new goal and a new why, the more motivated I'm going to be to get back in the gym, working harder than ever, and focusing on whatever that tunnel vision is at that time. So if it's the Olympic gold medal, if it's the Commonwealth Games, if it's the World Championships, whatever is next, that's my why and that's my drive. So obviously I'm a human being. There's going to be days where I don't feel like getting up and going for a run or whatever it might be. And it's just reminding myself of those whys. Why am I doing this? What do I want to achieve? Where do I want to see myself at the end of this? And that's my drive and my motivation. That's what keeps me pushing day in, day out.
Girl on a mission, aren't you?
I am.
I love it. So mum and dad have obviously been a huge influence on your career. What was the conversation like with them post the fight?
So I avoided talking to them as long as I could, but if you know my parents, they're very persistent. Yeah. So they were obviously my first call, but it was a few hours later. Yeah. They just wanted to tell me how proud they were of me. They thought I won the fight as well, which it's nice to hear. It doesn't really help, but they wanted to tell me how proud they were of me and that I'll get her next time, the usual kind of thing. But for me, I feel like mum and dad watching me in that quarterfinal made them believe more.
Yes.
So I went into the Olympics knowing what I'm capable of. And they kept saying to me before the Olympics, doesn't matter what happens, you got to the Olympics and we're so proud of you. Whatever happens now is just a bonus. And in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, well, you don't believe that I'm going to win then if you're saying that. That's how I felt. Yeah. I didn't say it. But they had their doubts, I think. And I think the achievement for them was me getting to the Olympics. But I obviously had a lot bigger goals and expectations on myself. But after that, I think their whole mindset changed as well. I think they saw I am capable of being an Olympic gold medalist, and that belief's there now. So I think I'll go into the Olympics in 2024 with a lot more expectation and a lot more pressure, which I thrive off.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for that, and I'm excited to have more believers, and I'm excited to...
I think you proved to everyone that you're the real deal,
yeah.
If people didn't already. And I think they can't wait to be part of the Skye Nicholson journey moving forward. So, but yeah, it was an amazing thing to watch. The emotions, and I know the decision didn't go the way, but the emotions that everyone shared, and I suppose the emotions that you shared, it's only going to help you grow.
Yeah.
And you look at your age, where you're at now, you've got a big future ahead. So where to now for Skye, and where do we see, I guess, the next 12 months and then the next 4 years?
Next 12 months, it looks like we're going to have a World Championships in Turkey in November, December. So short-term goal, World Champion, 100%.
Yeah.
I'm not going for a podium finish. I'm going for the top of the podium. I want to win that gold medal, and I'd love to finish 2021 on a high.
Yeah.
So for me, that's my sole focus right now. Looking beyond, we've got the Commonwealth Games in less than a year, where I'd like to defend my Commonwealth title, win that gold medal. And then obviously Paris 2024. So a huge 3 years ahead. There will probably be another World Championships between that Commonwealth Games and Olympics as well, where I'll hopefully be defending my world title.
Yep.
But massive plans, massive goals. I want to change things up a bit in my training. I want to get myself uncomfortable. I want to go place myself overseas for maybe 6 months of next year after the Commonwealth Games. And fight, just get that experience in. So I really, in hindsight, if I could have changed one thing in my lead up to Tokyo, it was having more fights and being in more competitions. COVID obviously made that really difficult. No excuses, obviously, but looking to the future, I want to change that. I want to make sure I'm out there fighting and mixing it with the best and challenging myself and putting myself in uncomfortable situations as much as I can to make sure that when I go to Paris, there's absolutely no doubt about who the Olympic gold medalist is going to be.
Who it's going to be. Skye Nicholson. I love it. So you've had opportunity to go pro, and obviously you would be someone that would be very, very easy to market with your experience, your age, your story so far. Now, I assume that going pro would mean some big dollars and big opportunity, but you've been solid on your dream of wanting to chase that Olympic dream, which I think just shows credit to how focused you are. Have you ever thought during that period that, no, I'm going to sway, I'll chase the dollars, or I want to go pro? Has that crossed your mind?
I've always been open to discussion, but for me, I'm not going to sell my dream short. I know what I'm capable of achieving, and I'm not going to go and change paths when I've come this far. I didn't come this far to only come this far, as they say, and I feel like there's 3 years till Paris. I want to win that Olympic gold medal, feel satisfied, and I guess accomplish everything I've set out to accomplish, and then look at the pro ranks and shake some things up there, make some noise in the pro scene. So, yeah, I'm in no rush to turn pro yet.
It's just, I think, and from a business point of view, I look at a lot of people come on to a journey when it might come into the automotive business, and in their first 3 or 4 months, they want to be the boss. They want the top job, but they don't want to work to get there. That they see it, and they'll chase the dollar signs. They'll chase a better opportunity in their mind without having to do the small steps.
Yeah.
To you to be able to stay very, very focused and just chase that and avoid the dollar sign and the big lights is a credit to you, and it really does show your commitment to your dream. And I think that's what I see in Skye Nicholson and what the audience sees. So just, I guess, just changing topic slightly, moving into that is your social media. The thing I like the most about you, Skye, is that what we see is what you get, and there's no different person. And that was where I first followed you, was through your socials, and I think now that your following base was growing substantially during that Olympic period. But anyone that watching that would see that you are the real deal, and what they see is what they get, and you've maintained that. And I think from admiration, you've achieved so much, but you haven't changed a little bit. And that focus, I just can't put a dollar value on that. You can't buy that off the shelf to have it. So it's inspiring to see how focused you are. Even I believe myself that I can focus in on something, and I believe it, and I want it, and I'll chase it. But to be able to talk about it and watch you do it without that being sidetracked is really, really good. So we'll go just backtrack a little bit. We've come home from Tokyo. You're quarantined for 14 days. The social media story, I think, showed to everyone that you ate enough food for 400 people. What else was going through your mind? You've come home. I bet you couldn't wait to see family and friends and chat about everything. What was it like during that period there? To kill the time for one, but did your mind wander of what's going on? Like, did you second guess anything? Did you relive the moment of Tokyo in your head? Did you relive moments of your preparation leading up to the Olympics at all?
Hotel quarantine was a little blessing in disguise for me, I think, just to have that complete alone time to decompress after being on such a high of the Olympic Games and being in this complete other little world. It kind of gave me time to just reflect on what had been, what happened, but also look at what was next. I feel like I left Tokyo proud of what I had done. I left satisfied that I boxed well. I was happy with my performances. I didn't leave feeling like I could have done more, or I didn't have those regrets. So that for me was comforting. Obviously, a close decision in the quarterfinals sucks, but I would rather that and know that I boxed great and was happy with my performance than just had an off day and didn't box well and didn't box to my potential. So in hindsight, I am very, very happy that I was able to showcase my skills to the world, show people that I am the real deal. And yeah, looking forward, I had that time in there to reset those goals. I already knew what I wanted next, and the World Championships are just around the corner. So for me, it was all full steam ahead coming out of hotel quarantine.
Shred some kegs.
Yeah, for the people that didn't follow me before, I jokingly put my room number up on my Instagram story, and the Uber Eats just did not stop coming. I had a lot of fun eating a lot of different food, which I very, very much enjoyed at the time, but very, very much regretted coming out of hotel quarantine. Yeah. We might look at possibly going up a weight division. But no, hotel quarantine, like, it's not easy sitting in a room by yourself after such a such a huge experience, and such a high, but also such a low. Yeah. Emotions were a little bit all over the place, but I had amazing support from not just my followers, but my close circle and my family as well. And I was grateful for that time to just kind of let everything sit before I was back with all my friends and family and busy again and seeing everyone. So yeah, it was okay. It wasn't.
So the reset's done.
The reset's done.
So I see now you're back in training.
I am.
You're starting to throw them again.
Yeah.
So for me and Grand Prix Mazda, I'm very, very select about who I want to I suppose associate with when it comes to ambassadors and partner up with, I guess. And they're made on decisions of the sort of people they are. You know that I'm your biggest fan already, but you know, for the staff, I had the privilege this morning of them seeing the real Skye, and I wanted to show to them, you know, she's an ambassador and you've seen what she does, but now I want you to be able to see what I see and have a chat to her, which they'll be forever thankful for, and I think they'll cherish that moment. But for you, obviously, you also choose who you align with, and what was your decision to align with Grand Prix Mazda for the ambassador role?
Well, that's what I was just about to say to you. Like, you've got such an amazing team down there that I was talking with this morning, and just the culture that you've created in here. Like, everyone looks like they have the best day ever every day. Every time I come here, I'm like, these people are way too happy to be at work all day. And that just shows the culture and the community that you're building here. And that's what drew me to Grand Prix Mazda Aspley. I see it, everyone sees it, and anyone that comes here sees it. So that for me was like a massive tick in my box. It was this positive vibes, great energy every time you come here, and I love that.
Like attracts like, and I believe that from a work point of view, you got to love what you do. And for us, every day we come to work, we pull on our jersey and we wear that jersey with pride. We walk through these doors and we're very, very... We're honoured and privileged to be able to step through the door and work amongst the professionals we do, but also align ourselves with superstars like yourself. So for me, thank you for joining me on Carman Conversations today.
Thank you for having me.
Pleasure, my pleasure. But thank you for what you've done so far. You've been an absolute inspiration to Australia. You've been an inspiration to Australian boxing. You've been an inspiration to entrepreneurs and people with like-minded sense of how to really drive their mind and stay true to their dream and have their beliefs. But you as just a person, you're a role model, and you have such an inspiration on so many people, and you must be blessed with that and appreciate what you have, because you're an absolute superstar, Skye. So thank you for joining us today, and thanks for being our Grand Prix Master Ambassador.
No, thank you.